Tell Me More podcast is being recorded on the lands of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. We pay our respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures. My name is Olivia Molly Rogers and I'm excited to get comfortable in the uncomfortable with you and remind you that nobody is perfect and everybody has something going on behind the scenes that you may not know about. I hope you enjoy the podcast. Hello and welcome back to Tell Me More. Today we have another episode of Ask Me More where Daniel is going to be firing questions at me from you guys.
Hey.
I think maybe he's also you've added some in. We've got some additional.
Yeah, we have a bunch of additional ones. We also have our Tell Me More cards, which we have a lot of fun questions and stories to touch on.
Sounds good. I'm excited.
So am I. You want to get started?
Yeah, let's get straight into it.
I have a really good juicy one to start with if you want to go straight into the juicy.
Yeah, straight into the juice. Let's do it.
We had a bunch of questions. You guys are amazing sending all these questions through. And this one came through and we just thought we'd throw it straight at you. I'm considering trying Botox and or filler. What are your thoughts on them?
Oh, that is juicy. I always hesitate to answer this question on Instagram. And I think every time I put up a question box, I get asked it. And not just recently, but for the past 7 years. I have had Botox. I've never had filler. I got Botox for the first time last year and I was terrified. Not so much because of the needles, but I was scared that it was going to change my face or completely freeze my face because I'm quite, I use my facial expressions a lot. And the thought of having a frozen face was scary, but I still just really wanted to try it and see what it was like. I was 31, 32 now. So yeah, I'd never done anything before that. The reason I've been hesitant to share that I've had it is because I don't ever want someone to think that they need to have it because I've had it. And I don't want people to think I'm promoting it because I'm definitely not. I like having it because I feel like the girl that I see, she says we go for fresh, not frozen. So you look like you've had a really good sleep. Or you look like you just look, fresh rather than completely freezing or changing the way that your face is. In saying that, I think there's, a fine line between being transparent and telling people that I've had it, but also not trying to glamorize it because I don't think everybody needs it or everybody should have it. Also, it's expensive and it's temporary, it wears off in 12 weeks or something. So if you do get it, then you potentially might feel like you have to keep getting it every 12 weeks and it's a big commitment and it's an expensive one. But yes, the answer is I've had it and I like it. So if you want to do it, then give it a whirl. But my suggestion would be to go somewhere that's, highly recommended and from someone that you trust and someone whose face you've seen in person. Don't just pick someone random online. Also start small. I started with a really, really small amount just to see what it was like. And we've done a little bit more since then, but it's still, I don't do a huge amount because I do like to move my eyebrows. I will add, talking about the cost of it, my sister and I were talking about Botox the other day and she asked me if mine costs extra because I have more surface area to cover because I have a 5 head, not a 4 head. So thank you, Eleanor. The answer is probably yes.
Yeah, you definitely would need more, wouldn't you? Not you personally, but just if you had more surface area.
Thank you, Daniel.
You're welcome. How expensive is it?
It depends on where you go. And how big your forehead is.
So you're dropping a few thousand every time you're going in? No, I'm just kidding. Ooh, it's a good start.
The real Daniel's coming out today. Yeah, it depends on where you go. I don't know. I think last time I went it was $400. Yeah, it's not cheap.
I don't know. I don't think I don't know enough about it, but I don't think that's too bad. I don't know. I probably expected more.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Also, Botox is short for something. Can you find the word for me? But it's got toxin in it. So, it is a toxin, which is slightly concerning.
Google says that they are shots that use a toxin to prevent a muscle from moving for a limited time. And I think that I think people lump that into the same category as, like you said, fillers, like, which is adding something into your body, or like, or a full surgery that people get. And I think they kind of lump in like, oh, they've had Botox, and it's like, well, they've probably had a lot more than that. And I don't think that gets. I think Botox is probably not as extreme as what people think.
Yeah, I think so. But also, like you said, people can do whatever they want. I think the concerning thing is, once you've done a little bit, whoever's doing the injections or the procedures, like, they can try and upsell you and convince you to do more every time. And I think some people forget what their face initially looks like, because you start to get used to the new face that you're seeing.
Yeah.
So I think that's how people sort of, I don't know, can sometimes overdo it a bit. Let me know if that ever happens to me, please.
I will. It says Botox blocks signals from the nerves to the muscles. So whatever I said, which was a bunch of mumbo jumbo, was close, but like it freezes up the muscles, the nerves to the muscles, so that they can't move anymore. And I think, if I'm right, because the wrinkles are made from your movement, so as you no longer move, the wrinkles just start to fade away. Rather than, it's not removing your wrinkles, it's just making your head not move in the same fashion of causing the wrinkles.
The creases.
Interesting. Well, that's juicy.
Yeah, there you go. I've never shared that before.
Thank you.
No worries.
Well, next question is also a tough one. Do you take medication for your anxiety, and what are your thoughts on it?
I do. I take Lexapro. Again, I sometimes get hesitant talking about it because I don't want people to think that I'm saying that it's something that they have to do. For me personally, I feel like I can manage my anxiety so much better when I'm taking it. Over the years, I've been on it, then stopped, then started again and stopped. And you're never supposed to just go cold turkey and stop. And I have done that, which was really stupid. So I won't do that again. The last time I had stopped and started taking it again was during COVID. I think it was 2021 when I went back on, because I was feeling really fragile and sensitive and affected by everything. My anxiety was very heightened, and my doctor suggested going back on it. And the best way that I can explain the feeling of being off it and then going on it is, it obviously takes a couple of weeks or 3 or 4 weeks for some people for it to actually, the effects to start. For me, it feels like putting on a suit of armor. So it's not a happy pill. It doesn't make you like suddenly think life is great and you skip around and everything's sunshine and rainbows. For me, it's like you put on this suit of armor so I can still feel everything that's coming my way, but I can deflect a bit easier. Paul Versace. I feel like he always
answer it on the pod.
Hey.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm just having a break from filming.
What you filming? I'm recording the podcast at the moment.
You won't be able to hear me.
Paul always calls when I'm recording.
Who's the guest?
You now.
Oh my God. I didn't realize it was an impromptu session. How are ya?
How are ya?
Let's do a tell all. Come on, 1, 2, 3, go.
Tell me something. Tell me a secret.
I'm gay.
That's not a secret, brother.
Wait. Take it back.
You're just in and out of that closet. I'm going to call you when we finish.
What are you guys chatting about? Tell me more.
I just told everyone that I've had Botox before.
Bitch, I knew that. Wait, what the fuck is going on right now? Where's the cameras? Daniel, cough up. Tell us one of your truths.
Do you consent to this being used on the podcast?
You can. What did you say?
He said, do you consent to this being used on the podcast?
Go for it. Not the gay bit.
Not the gay bit. We just did a whole episode on you coming out, but don't talk about it.
I thought that was just. I thought that was just a role play. It's always a role play when you're on your knees on a Saturday night. Am I right?
Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to hang up on
I
you now.
need this one.
Bye.
Bye. Oh my God. Oh, what was I up to? So yeah, when I am taking anxiety medication, for me, it feels like I put on a suit of armor and everything in my life still feels somewhat the same, but I can just manage it better. So I feel like I can deflect things better. I'm not as sensitive and fragile, and my anxiety just sits at a much more manageable level. So I might get more stressed or anxious in relation to stressful things, but I feel like it's relative and it's reasonable, rather than when I'm not taking it, I feel like my anxiety can just peak in extremes.
Do you get side effects?
I have night sweats, like not every night, but I think that's from that. And really vivid dreams, which I also think might be from that. But otherwise, I don't think so.
And you said that you can't just go off it cold turkey. What happens if you do?
I am obviously not an expert, so I don't want to say too much about the actual effects of the medication, but it can make you feel just, really horrible. You're supposed to wean off it very slowly and with the, guidance of your doctor. So yeah, if you do plan on taking it or stopping it, make sure it's you have a good relationship with your GP. I also, I'm still on it. And for me now, I know there are a lot of people that say that you shouldn't be on anxiety medication long term. My doctor thinks that it's fine. The way I see it is kind of like if I had arthritis and I was taking medication for arthritis and then I'm feeling really good, I'm not all of a sudden going to be like, I'm going to stop taking that medication now and see how I feel without it. But for some reason, I think because of the stigma around medication for mental health, people think once they get to a good point, they want to stop taking it. But for me, I just see it as one of the things that helps me to manage it. So I don't really want to take that away and then just put myself in a more, vulnerable position. So at the moment, I don't see myself going off of it.
And for those who don't know what Lexapro is, Dr. Google's helping me give you a definition, but a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, which is an SSRIs, which is a category of drug that is used a lot in depression and anxiety. And there's a lot of different variations of those, and Lexapro happens to be one of them. Mm-hmm. And it helps restore the balance of a certain natural substance, which is serotonin, in the brain.
Thank you for that explanation.
Thank you, Google. Another question, what was your first job when you were younger?
My first official job was working as a waitress at the cafe at the time was called Manto. It was in Norwood in Adelaide. And my uncle owned it, which helped me get the job. I think I was 13. So I wasn't actually allowed to serve anyone. Anything. I could only clear plates and polish cutlery. And I would do it for 3 hours every Saturday. And I didn't really enjoy it, but it was good. It was a good lesson. And I enjoyed earning money for myself. And then I would go and use it to, have group movie dates or whatever you do when you're 13. I did that. And I also babysat. And then I would waitress for random family friends and things like that. There was a catering company that started hiring me and friends of mine, and I would waitress and babysit. I was a bit of a hustler. I always loved having my own money, not having to ask for money from my parents when I wanted to buy something special for myself.
So when you say first official job, is that because you babysat and stuff before?
I feel like babysitting is an unofficial job.
Yeah. Well, you're not on a payroll. You're not getting
exactly. But so my first official job was Manto Cafe. It's now Betty's Burgers on the corner of the parade, and I think it's George Street. Any
love
of the
Betty.
Adelaide listeners?
We love Betty's.
Yeah.
All right. We happen to get quite a bit of correspondence, I'll put it, from some Miss Columbia, Miss Universe fans over the last couple of weeks after we had Tegan Martin on the episode to talk about Miss Universe behind the scenes.
Yeah.
We have a bit of an update for the listeners on Miss Columbia, don't we? Shall we?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to apologize to Laura, Miss Columbia, because when I was telling that story, I didn't even think, which is silly of me because I feel like I do try and think about how I'm, what I say and do is going to affect others. I didn't think that it might be upsetting for her telling that story. And for those who haven't heard it, I was basically talking about when we were at Miss Universe and just my interactions with her. And she reached out to me with multiple voice notes, and she was so lovely and apologetic that I felt like the interactions were one-sided, because she said that she was really in her head, and I could see that she was really in her head. She had so much pressure. In Colombia, Miss Universe is so important to them, and she had worked so hard to be there, and so she was really focused and stressed and feeling the pressure. And she says that she wishes that she had been more present and built more friendships along the way and been able to enjoy herself more. But I can completely understand why she didn't feel like she could. But yeah, she sent me some really beautiful voice notes, which was funny because that while she was sending those, her fans came for me hard.
There were some good ones in there. I obviously love Miss Universe as a competition in Colombia. Not that we don't love it in Australia, but I think it's maybe
so
more
different.
It's almost like they treat it as a competition there. It's sort of like going to the Olympics and taking the Olympic swimming seriously, and maybe you don't speak to your competitor. So I kind of, when we started to realize that, because all of the stuff that was coming in on the socials.
They were saying, like not people in Colombia don't see it as a holiday like you do in Australia, and should I read some of them?
Yeah, let's read them.
The thing is, some of them were in Spanish, but like this one, it's in Spanish, but but it translates. I don't want to say it wrong. Ere una bitch.
I think we know what you're trying to get at.
I guess that means I'm a bitch. Or then this person went through and commented on lots of posts. One of them, the translation was something along the lines of, must I remind you, you didn't place at Miss Universe. I'm like, I know. It's okay. It's okay. Anyway, I understand. I think it's lovely that she's got really loyal fans. This guy, Ronaldo, came hard. I just wanted to remind you, Laura from Colombia was runner-up, and you?
Can I just say, Ronaldo's? We read a lot of these comments together, and Ronaldo's a very eloquent and kind of like pretty well put together arguments.
Yeah,
like they were insulting, and he went hard, but like they weren't as abusive of some.
It's just him laughing at me, like this one here. This is the one who dared to criticize Laura. Ha 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 ha. I definitely understand if Laura didn't compliment you back. I mean, they're levels, honey, and you are not in the same like Laura. That's why she was first runner-up while you just applauded. And then this emoji.
Oh, well.
Laura sent me multiple voice notes. I responded, and she was so lovely, and everything is all good. And I said, I think it would be great to get her on the podcast. And she has sent another voice note. She sent it at 2:00 this morning.
Absolutely, yes. I'd love to be in your podcast. Let me know how we're gonna do it, and count on me. And thank you for replying. No, don't be sorry. No, I'm just so happy to hear that. Yeah, if you're coming to Colombia or if I'm going and that you're inviting me to your podcast, I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you for replying.
That's so nice.
So nice.
Yeah, she seems
oh,
so
she's a
lovely.
gem. And yeah, we're going to get her on the pod. So stay tuned for that. And for all of Laura's fans, please know that I am really sorry and we love her and everything is all good.
I've got some tell me more cards here for some additional questions. Tell me more about what you were afraid of as a child.
My sister and I think my sister gave me this fear. I used to sleep in a nightie without any knickers on. And until my sister said to me, you should really sleep in knickers. And I was like, why? I think I should be free in my sleep. And she said, no, because imagine if the house starts burning down and the fire brigade come and you run outside and you've got no knickers on and all of your clothes burn. And then you're just going to be out there in a nightie with no undies. You couldn't possibly do that. So then my fear became being naked. I could never sleep naked because I was scared that the house was going to burn down and that I would be standing on the street in the nude.
That's a multi-levels of
I know.
fear.
But that was, yeah, it's very specific. But that was my fear. And even to this day, I have a weird thing about sleeping in the nude because I'm like, what if I have to run outside?
Fair enough.
And then I've had dreams about that happening where something bad's happening and I'm standing there naked. I think that's like a common anxiety dream. But yeah, I get nervous thinking about just standing there in the nude in front of people that I'm not supposed to be. I don't think you're ever supposed to be naked in public, but yeah.
Don't worry about the burning house. That you worry.
Yeah.
Like, that should be the scary part, right?
Yeah, I mean that's also scary, but yeah, thank you to my sister for that.
Tell me more about getting into trouble.
Oh, I hate getting into trouble. Even if I hear my name, Olivia, straight away my first thought is, oh no, what have I done? Like I hate being in trouble, and there's something about the tone of the way that some people say Olivia that reminds me of when my mum would say it when I was younger, and I feel like I'm in trouble. And yeah, I just hate being in trouble. I was a stickler for rules at school, like throughout my childhood, same with at uni, and even now, like all through COVID, like I wouldn't bend the rules. I was very rigid because I am a scaredy cat and I hate being in trouble.
Tell me more about a phrase or word that you use all the time.
So when I was younger, in my household, we would use the term fritzy to describe someone who was grumpy. And I kind of thought it was like a general thing, a term that other people use, but I've since realized that I think it was very much contained to my family. But it would be like, oh, someone's fritzy, like if you're a bit grumpy, which would always make you more grumpy. You know, when someone points out your bad mood and it just makes you more frustrated. So it was generally towards my brother, you know, we'd be like, oh, Oscar's fritzy. And if you're super fritzy, you need to fritz down. And if you're like off the charts fritzy, you're off the fritzer. So there are a few different versions of it. But yeah, I still use it now, but then I don't think people know what I'm saying. But hopefully moving forward, it can be a term that other people use.
This is the last one. Tell me more about something that always makes you laugh.
My brother, my sister and I, when we reminisce on our really awkward photos as like pre-teens, we were looking at some the other day and my sister and I had tears streaming down our faces because we were laugh crying. So yeah, every time I think there's like a little bit of trauma there as well, but laughter's the best medicine, right? So it always makes me laugh, reminiscing on those times. We might need to get some of those on an episode.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thanks for all the questions, and thank you to everyone who submitted questions. As always, you can go into the link on our Tell Me More Instagram page. It will also be in the show notes. You can submit questions there either via text or voice note. We almost forgot, but we need to finish with oranges and lemons. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I have a lemon because it just happened before.
Okay.
it's a coffee lemon. I feel like this is a regular thing. The coffee spilling on you, or a guest with their coffee was too hot or something. But I went before. I had a meeting just before you came in, and it was at 9:30. At 9:20, I went to the cafe to get a coffee, which should be enough time, but is a little bit pushing it. And there's a place here where they have a bunch of workers that come in the mornings, and there's like 30 of them. And they all come in and just, you've witnessed this, I think, at the local
Yeah, I
cafe.
feel quite intimidated when I walk into the cafe and they're all there.
Yeah. And I was hoping I'd miss them, and they didn't miss them. And I got stuck behind 20 people in line. Some of them were ordering, some of them weren't, some of them had food, some didn't. Anyway, that was my lemon. It's not a bad one. It's only early. It's the start of the day. There's probably going to be something worse later. Maybe not.
If any of them are listening, if you see Daniel come in and you're there, just let him go ahead
Just
of you.
move out of the way. Well, that actually could be my orange, I guess, because Adina, who's lovely and we know very well, who works there, just took my cup and just did it.
Oh, she's the
in front of
best.
everyone. So I suppose that's probably an orange. I could probably
Yeah.
find a better orange, but that's a good
little orange
as well.
I think she'll enjoy the shout out.
Yeah, that's true.
For me, my lemon, I told you guys this before. I have a dog staying at my apartment at the moment, and woke up this morning to a complete crime scene of just poo all over my rug. So that was a real lemon. And
I feel like you've had this lemon before as well.
yeah, look, it's happened before. I do think there's something like if a dog goes to the toilet. Yeah, it was Ginger, it was Mum's dog.
That's right.
She had weed all over the rug. So the rug has seen some things. And I think that once a dog goes somewhere, then the smell lingers no matter what you do to it. So the dog keeps going back. That seems to be a thing. Anyway, it's an ongoing lemon because I had to leave the house. So when I get home, it's still there. So I've got to deal with that.
You need lemons to help wash it out, probably.
Yeah, I might have to strap onto my nose too while I'm cleaning it so I don't have to smell it. That is a real lemon. Orange is that I'm going to Perth for the weekend. And I'm really excited because I am catching up with some friends I haven't seen in 6 months. So it'll be great. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Tell Me More. I appreciate your support so much. It means the world to me. I always love seeing where you're listening. So if you feel like you want to share this to your stories, please do and tag us. Also, if you can follow from whatever platform you're listening on, that would be amazing. It helps us to reach more people, more ears, and to get more guests on. Thanks.